9.4. But you must not eat meat that has its lifeblood still in it. And for your lifeblood, I will surely demand an accounting. I will demand an accounting from every animal and from each man too. I will demand an accounting for the life of its fellow man. It's interesting, right? You can eat everything, and but you can't eat the blood. So how could a meat without blood? Beef jerky still has blood, and this is kind of like a paradox. So feels like okay, I do my best not to eat meat with blood, kind of like a halal, but it still has a lot of blood in it. So it's kind of like, oh, you can do this, but the condition made it's well, I do my best, but never satisfy what you ask for, because what? Only me with blood, without blood. But if a me without blood, what do you call it? Stone, rock, or what? Wood, maybe veggie. So maybe that's only vegan will make him happy. Why don't you just tell us, I don't want you eat meat, I want a vegan? It's kind of like a really weird, Also, do you realize when what's his name? Noah, when he started to barbecue all the animals, right? That's before God. That's before God tell him you can't have the meat with blood, whatever. It is meat with blood, and the fat after burning, it smells good. Try a wood burning. It's not smell as good as meat. So what he really, I like meat, I want meat, but you know what? You can't have meat without blood. What kind of logic? It's interesting, huh? And here is like another thing is, if someone make you bleeding and take your life, I will demand account for that, right? Even for the fellow man. So it's kind of like a promise, but it's still like I don't know if he really satisfied that promise or not, but at the least it's kind of like his willing power make it a karma, make it some kind of protection for human and between the human and the earth and the animal. So if the animal hurt human, you know what? Other human gonna hunt this animal, right? So who did it? God did it. Actually, someone hunted it, but you know what? You give credit to God. And if someone hurt you, you know what? Sentence to life or get beat up. And if this person, it's not enough to pay for it, maybe his brothers, his relative pay for it, his fellow person to pay for it. It's an organized crime or something. You consider it's a... I can't get this part, because in ancient time, if you made a crime, king will chop off, make your head off, chop your head off. But after that, they might chop your wife, your parents, kind of like those family head off. Why? That time, I think that time more family orientated. So you share the benefits, you share the happiness, share the hunting, share all the, you gain, you share the lose. So if there's no right or wrong, and there is no such things really called right or wrong, just for surviving, So you, all the fellows, if you get the benefit from the leader, from someone, you have to take the consequence from someone. That's, I believe, that's the God tried to tell. And right now, we just make more individual take responsibility. But I think I agree with what the God said. You know, if kids, right, made a mistake, parents have to take the consequence. Or if a corrupted officer made a crime, his wife and his kids need to take the consequence, some sort of consequence also. The reason is they supported his behavior. And it sucks, but that's the life. When God gave this blessing, give all the animal as a food to them, he was talking to Noah's wife, sons, and sons' wives. So they're all adults. And all of them, I think, is more than 100 years old. Noah is already 600 years old. So it's kind of interesting when the beginning of the chapter, God said, well, no one can live beyond 120 years old, right? No one. I'm talking about Noah. But he gave exception for Noah and Noah's wife, Noah's son's wife, something. I don't know, is that way of they show their maybe alien technique to change a human's life takes time, kind of like it will happen gradually. So gradually, people's getting die earlier. Maybe that's one of the reasons Noah became blameless or respected. One of the reasons, because think about it. If you all most people die 70, but if someone is like 120 years old, well, this guy fully respected, right? It's maybe even people live right now people like 80, 90, but if someone lived beyond 100, still it's highly respected or honored, and so. Is that possible? Most of human beings that time getting lifespan shorter and shorter, but Noah and his family still live longer. So it doesn't matter. Disregard parties, the difference between the parties. But one thing both parties will listen or admire is Noah, his longevity, I guess. I was just one guessing, but I believe the lifespan 120 years old, it's not happen one day. It happened gradually. So it's a big environment change, all the food, all the air, everything changed. So our life kind of get changed. We are what we eat. So if you eat healthy food, you live longer. You eat a crappy food or some poison stuff, you live shorter. And that's the ways I think God start to change our life. Yeah. Also, another thing is, maybe God put two triggers within us and within animals, because I realize when those babies, infants, they don't have the food, need to eat animal, these kind of concept, view, angle to treat the animal in their mind. So when they see animal, it's just animal, just a cute object, moving object. And the same thing, animal. When animals, most animals see infants or babies, in their eyes, this is just another different species, and pose no threat, doesn't want to eat me, and there is no some frequency from the brainwave about food, whatever, something. I think probably that's the peaceful time, Eden time. You manage the animal, you command the animal to do something, you're dealing with them peacefully, because what? You don't need it. Treat them as food. Same animal has no fear about being food. 9:6. Whoever shed the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God has God made man. As for you, be fruitful and increase in number, multiply on the earth, and increase upon it. Well, right here, is that kind of a reason God used a great flood to wash everything away? I mean, it's the highest rule of the universe is what? Good, evil, equality, equal, fairness, free will, all those things. So even God, he still needs to follow, right? In here, the shed the blood. So when you say something, you make, just for example, you make a hole on somebody, right? But if you make a hole on somebody, shed blood, die, whatever, and you kind of like you violate the word, the power, the willing power. But if you use a freezing, a ice cube or ice needle, whatever, some made a hole on somebody, it's not shedding blood, just made a hole. That's why I think it satisfies the word. I recall at this moment, and maybe this metaphor is not that correct. Okay, I recall a story, Asian Han Dynasty. There is a general. Okay, the king promised him not be killed. No, he tries to. Okay, you can't kill me. Okay, under certain circumstance. For example, you can't use the metal to kill me, right? As long as I can see the sun, you can't kill me. As long I can hear something, you can't kill me. So it's in Han Dynasty. The very famous general is Han Xin. So basically he think, okay, you can't execute me publicly and use a knife, whatever. Because that's the normal thinking method. Yeah. But the queen, she kind of figure out different ways. So she take this guy inside the palace in a sealed room. Like, so you cannot see the sun, right? It's dark. Also, she's not wrapping this guy, not tie this guy with a chain, whatever. She tied this guy with silk paper. I think a silk clothing, something. Then, then she tried to oh yeah, the guy said I can't bleed to death. You can't share my blood. So she asked all those eunuchs, use a bamboo knife, bamboo the sword or something, beating this guy to death. So yes, he was killed. No blood, didn't see sun, not wrapped by the chain, something. Everything is satisfied. So at this moment, I think, is that possible? The reason God used a great flood to wipe up everything because you drown. And it didn't share blood. I didn't share blood. There's no blood. Yeah, that's, I think. So he can stay away from the karma. Stay away from the karma. So what's the so special about the blood? What's so special about the blood? Is that possible? Is that possible? Only blood carries the gene, carries some information we can multiply, we can pass to the next generation. I don't know. It's interesting. Keep mentioning about the blood. God keep mentioning of blood previously. You can't shed blood from animal. I'm gonna return whatever. Then right now, because you can't shed blood, and because it's from the God's image. So it's interesting to do more research about blood. And here, God keep remind the importance of the God's image. And because human based on God's image, and God said at the beginning, let's do everything based on our image. So what's the importance of this image? This image, two eye, one nose, and the facial structure, the eyebrow, everything, and the way of we communicate, and the 5 fingers, those kind of things. So what's the importance? This unique image. Does this image real present something, or I just thought about, is that possible in the universe? Every species has own unique image. See, like can you find the similarity between us and monkey? Yes, a lot of similarity. You can't tell whether it is monkey or it is. You can tell it's a monkey or it's human, right? You can tell the image between the monkey and the apes, right? Or you can tell the image between the pig and the boar or cow or something. So every species has own unique image, even aliens, right? I think maybe alien has those big eyes, tiny finger, those nose, something. So they have their own image. I guess that's a universal rule. Every species was assigned a unique image, and is God or gods, they have very high self-esteem for their own image. It's possible. The reason I think it's possible for them to come to Earth is because of another species had a war or invasion, something, and they escaped their hometown, and they are very unique of their own image and proud of it. So the other party, maybe, I don't know, maybe crab-like, maybe chicken-like, or maybe ape-like, who knows, right? But this image represents the only species in the universe has a certain spiritual culture or something very unique. So they came to Earth to make it far away hometown and rebuild their culture, try to rebuild everything, to repopulate. I think image is still some kind of frequency. I think it's still, because unique facial, unique view of something, it's a feedback. When those kind of information bouncing back, it brings a unique frequency, and give you either you recognize, you accept, you reject. Same thing, like for example, if you see a dead body, right? A dead body. If this corpse is for pig, what do you think? Food. A deer, food. A snake, well, it's a little little yucky, but it'd be fine with you, right? But if there is dead people in front of you, well, it's kind of like a make you what? You have a fear, you have a dread, right? Because what? You can't image mapping yourself because the same frequency towards that concept. So, but for other animals, same thing. Then what about between the animals? I knew like there are monkeys, right? Monkeys, when some monkey die, they bury the old monkey and they cry and they shake the monkey's tail. Oh no, when the wind comes, the tail will kind of like a little shake. So they thought the monkey is alive. So they dig out the monkey out and shake the monkey. Then nothing happened. So they put the monkey back to the ground. They bury it, leave the tail outside. Then when the wind comes, the tail kind of little move, dig the monkey out, shake it. Monkey has very high intelligence. They view their own kind and the way kind of like a human we try to save our same human kind. But do you think a monkey will save a human this way, or monkey will save a pig this way? It's hardly you will see this. So image in here, God tried to emphasize our retaliate, our revenge, whatever. If people hurt this, because they actually not hurting you, they hurting the image. This image is more holy, more important, is unique. So that's the message he tried to tell. Also, he tried to tell is we basically become the enemy of all animals. We treat them as food. We eat of them, and this image is unique. If anything happened to us, it just brings his anger. I think that's basically that's the whole message. Yeah. Okay. Also in here, when God talked about be fruitful, increase, and multiply, that's the 3 stage. Firstly, fruitful is like you have to bear the fruit, right? You have to make a fruit, bear fruit. So to make sure you make fruit, that's first thing. Then second thing is when you give a birth, the numbers increase, right? Increase. So it's a linear increase. Then when multiply, well, that makes more like make me thinking more about this, because the duplicate and make a duplication and make like a largely increase. So think about it. For Noah is 600 years old. That's like a human, like what? Let's say 70 something about this, 60 or 70, and for his son 100. Yeah, that's about like very young. So they can have kids, but Noah's son's wife only were able to have pregnant once, and that time even she can give like 2 or 3 once, or like some kind of rabbit, they can make like a 5, 6, but still can't reach that number, right? So when you need to like most likely when you need to like fruitful and increase and multiply, you need to give a birth, right? Every year there is no empty womb. You have to give a birth. Wow, it's a interesting. It's a really interesting time. Also, they have to let all the animals keep pregnant. But when animal keep pregnant, what if they're pregnant? They cannot really hunting, cannot really do much hard work. Same like Noah's wife or Noah's son's wives, right? They cannot do anything. If they keep like a breeding, they cannot do much things. Even that time, Asian people, they are tough, but still limited. Those physical things still limited. So Noah and his child must have landed at a very very full resources location. So could be a lot of easy to grow things, easy to hunting things, and even for animal, they are big like grassland, either for them to populate. For those predators, they can find some way to eat. So, but I'm still like thinking, how long if for those animals, not many, right? For those, let's say 7 rabbits, 7 pigs, 7 sheep, then Noah need to eat and need to sacrifice and need to populate. This, I just hardly for me to put this picture together. And it's very interesting, yeah. Fruitful and increase and multiply. Yeah, that's the ways God want. Keep blessing, give the child, keep going, just make your life non-stop. Back to 1997, I met a deformed girl in Kentucky, Louisville, and it's during the Kentucky Derby. She told me her father is her mother's brother. That time I'm kind of little confused. I don't understand. Then did ask friends around. They say, okay, it's the habit, or it's normal in Kentucky. It's called incest. I'm kind of record this scenario. Feels like back to early human population reproduction. There are a lot of incest, a lot, because like a human being, you can't guarantee you can't guarantee all boys or girls. You have boys and the girls, right? And that a person or very small population, when they try to reproduce more, what can they do? One, you go to other tribes, try to grab a couple female, like a lot of like a tribe right now. They go outside, they just snatch whoever, a lone female, just get in there, try to get a mate. Or they exchange with different tribes. But the early time, I don't think they have enough information about other tribes. And in a small size, I believe only thing they can do is mating with sisters. That's all they can do. Each other's cousins. So this kind of behavior or this kind of gene is deeply in humans, in our genes. Think about it. We're afraid of fire, afraid something. Those things actually in our gene. Scientifically, research showed there are 20, I think it's 26 or 22 genes regarding, for example, crime or fire or those things like embedded in our gene. It's very interesting. So those life experiment or strong emotional things can be a mark put on your gene and pass to generation. It's very interesting. Right here, but do you think God God know this? Or he doesn't know this? If he doesn't know this, that means his limitation, right? He has a limitation. He doesn't know something, or that's the boundary line of the science. Should I say of the high level civilization, the science limitation, because they never had such kind of big elimination, so they don't need to start things from that point. So they really doesn't, it's not their concern. So I think that's possible. But if God knew this, if He's Almighty, He knew this, He still allowed this happen. Think about it, He allowed Rod and his 2 daughters to repopulate everything. So that means, firstly, He doesn't give a shit about it, because it doesn't matter, you are deformed, you are dumb, you are whatever, you're gonna die, you're gonna dust to dust, ash to ash, and He just wants certain useful, simple, that's it. That's all He needs. So the rest, as long as big direction towards their request, they can care less. Yeah, that's the really sad parts. So from here, I thought the word sing. See, in the church, they always teach us sing because of we brought the sing into it, because we didn't follow the command, and the sing explanation in Latin is miss the target, right? But here I disagree that part. I don't think we brought sing, because when we brought sing is we are consciously or unconsciously, subconsciously, we took initiative. No, it's not, because when the thing is specify something right now, the social laws, moral, all the things against it, we feel it's against our major standards. So from the incest, I try to think back. What do we have? We have a gout, we have lust, we have all those what called 7 things, right? Original 7 things. Where do they come from? I should say these are actually came from the universe, from the consequence of violate the free will. Remember, when God told Adam, don't do this or you must die, it's a violation of a free will. You limited what Adam can do. You point, you cannot do this sentence. So in the universe, it's basically the violation of a free will, because if Adam is a individual with own will, he will do what he wants. So the future consequence will Adam take it. But when God told Adam, don't do this, or you must. This is clearly, you must. If you do this, you must die. It's just clearly cause and consequence. That's the direct violation of a free will. So after this, the serpent temptation and all the 2 kings, jealous, whatever, those kind of things. Where all those come from? Directly came from those willing power, the battle between the God's blessing and the cursing, and it's in our soul. Our soul is already said the battle product of the abyss and the spirit. So when another force, I'm talking about the universe force, directly involved into it, so we became the battlefield within us even more complicated. So we have the thing unable to change, unable to totally kind of make it purify our soul. So that's the universe force. Also, there is another part is from the abyss. Abyss, the will, against the spirit. And the spirit want to conquer this, want to make a new world. So those 3 parts start to battling within us. And eventually create some kind of conscious, some kind of culture, some kind of things. We found our ways because there is a wisdom fruit. So there is another universe force within us, guide us. So it's kind of like a vectors within us, that make like a human character. It's more complicated, more colorful, more interesting. It's very, very, very interesting. Yeah. Well, I think we are the battlefield. Yeah. Then, when at the beginning God wanted people, but he found out it's useless because why? Because I was so mixed with all those forces and so complicated. So he needs something, meets his frequency or more purified. So he sent out Jesus, try to gain some purified soul in a very limited amount, because he has to follow the universal rules and he has to admit that his limitation. Yeah, God has to admit his limitation, because he still has to follow the universal rules.